Hello, welcome to PSA with Tanner and Grady. I'm Tanner and Grady.
And I'm Wismo Lemons, and together we can bite back against gingivitis.
And today we'll be reviewing the 1953 Academy Award-winning film Sex Education for Girls, Part 2. We open up in women outside of their natural
Molly, you're
environment,
going like a weed.
not the kitchen.
I'm going to have to let that hem down again. Come on, I'll do it right now.
Okay.
As opposed to the other times you're on your knees?
You know, I've often wondered why it is that some women still call menstruation the curse.
I don't know.
Because they can't pronounce their
Have you called it
R's.
that? And it is kind of a nuisance, isn't it?
I suppose it is sometimes. Just that it sounded sort of old-fashioned to hear you say it.
What are you two up to?
Oh.
Not
How are the
making
fights,
sandwiches.
Not
Fix
bad.
that.
Something wrong with our aerial, though. We ought to be getting a better picture.
What are you
than
doing,
that.
Father? Oh, getting lung cancer.
What was all the talk about in here? Is this a private conference?
No, I don't think so. Do you, Molly?
No, I guess not. You tell her, Mom.
Well,
We
Jim,
don't have any mail.
Molly's growing up. She's having her first menstrual period.
What? Already? Oh, but Alice, I thought...
Let's
Well,
stare
I mean,
at a
after all,
crotch
she's
and work
only-
this problem
Daddy,
out.
don't be so silly. I'm not a baby anymore.
I know, dear, but,
Awkward.
no. No, honey, I guess you aren't.
And your creepy uncle exits stage left.
Growing up is fun, but some of the things Molly used to do seem a little silly now.
Like playing
Sometimes
with
she gets all
maple leaves.
mixed up just thinking about it. She's
Like where
changing
maple
from a
leaves go when
child
they
into an
die.
adult.
Do all maple
And
leaves
it's a
go to
little
heaven, Dad?
confusing at times.
No. We now cut to a place that isn't a kitchen.
Molly had lots of
Weird for
questions
the
about what was
1950s.
happening to her. It so happened I had a chance to answer some of them. Her teacher was sick one day and asked me to take her class.
In other words, her teacher
And
is a
this
plot
is true
device.
of women everywhere. So you see, menstruation is just the natural, normal process leading up to being a mother. This is a diagram of the uterus, or womb. And these are the
And
fallopian
our
tubes
school
leading
mascot,
to
the
it.
Fighting Bulls.
And these the ovaries which produce the egg cells. Now these egg cells are far too small for us to see. But once each month, an egg cell will leave one of the ovaries, go into the opening of the tube nearest to it. And then it's on its way to the uterus. Now at the same time, the uterus has been preparing a growing place for this egg, a soft lining of blood vessels and tissues.
Can I have a Kleenex?
If the egg unites with a male cell or sperm as it's on its way down the tube, it is fertilized. And then when it reaches the uterus, it settles down in this soft lining and begins to grow into
Builds
a
a
baby.
small wooden cottage.
But if the egg cell is not fertilized, it disappears.
Babies look like rainbows, fun fact.
And then, since the lining is no longer needed, it too dissolves away. And it flows out of the body through an opening in the hymen, which is a membrane over the opening of the vagina. And so we
And
say
is
that
to be
we are
broken on the
menstruating.
next full moon.
Yes, Barbara.
Miss Jensen, when does menstruation start?
Well, some girls start when they're 10
Wednesday.
years old, and some when they're 16 or 17, or anywhere in between. But the average age seems to be about 13.
No, I mean what day of the week will it start? My mother starts on Tuesday. Will mine too?
Why do you know that?
Oh, it might, but it probably won't, because each girl's body sets up her own time and rhythm. And the time between periods may vary
And if you want to
anywhere
change
from
that, just go to
23
File,
32 days.
Settings, and then
And
Preferences.
the flow lasts
and
from
click
2 to
Apply.
7 days, also depending on the girl's own rhythm.
Miss Jensen, how often should you change napkins when you're menstruating?
Well, that depends
Whenever
on
you
the
find
amount of
yourself
flow.
inside of a
But
McDonald's is
probably
an
5 or
acceptable
6 times
amount.
a day. And that brings up another point. Many of you girls haven't started to menstruate yet, but when you do, you will want to use a sanitary napkin to absorb the flow.
Which can be used to clean
It's
food
a soft,
off of your
absorbent
mouth.
pad,
And
and it's made
Oh,
to fit
wait.
over the opening of the vagina
never
and
mind.
to follow the curve of the body. The tab ends are attached to a narrow elastic belt which you can wear around your hips or waist. Now, some girls prefer to use tampons. A tampon is a cylinder of absorbent cotton inside a cardboard applicator. It is inserted into the vagina by means of the applicator.
or by any other means of
The cotton
transportation.
absorbs the flow, and when it is full, you remove it and discard it.
Party streamers.
Yes, Molly?
Miss Jensen, is it true that people can tell
How
when
can
you're
you obtain
menstruating?
said object?
No,
Oh, just pull
it
some
isn't.
strings.
But you should be more careful than ever about personal cleanliness and dainties. Change your underwear more often, and be sure and use a deodorant. And pay more attention to your hair and your nails, and plan to wear your prettiest dress. In other words, be your most attractive self. And remember, menstruation is only a part of growing up. As you grow, your body changes from that of a young girl to that of a woman. It's becoming
A
round
small
with the
object
beginnings of a
to a
bosom
large
and the
object.
start of a real waistline and hips. And hair is beginning to grow in different places, pubic hair and underarm hair. Yes, Anne?
Miss Jensen, what about dancing?
I'm not a
Can you when
girl.
you're menstruating?
Yes, you can, with moderation. In fact, you can do most of the things you usually do. You can
You can
bathe or
conveniently play
shower as long as you
signs.
use warm water. And you can wash your hair if you're sure to dry it quickly. And you can swim
Welcome to
if you wait
science,
until after
circa
2 or 3 days
1950.
after the beginning of your period. And you can go to dances and picnics. But it's not a very
Yes, you
good
can
idea
make and
to
eat
skate
sandwiches.
or ride horseback or play fast games like volleyball and basketball or do strenuous dancing like square dancing or anything that bounces
Fun
you
fact
around
of the
a
day,
lot.
kids, square dancing
In
and
general,
dancing are
mild
not the same
exercises
thing.
are best.
They, in fact,
Ones
are
that
not even
strengthen the
related.
abdominal muscles are particularly good. It's sensible to avoid strenuous exercise when you're menstruating. And you be sure and tell your mother or me if everything doesn't seem to be just right. Now, I'd like
Please
each of
talk
you to
to me
take one of these
first.
booklets about menstruation. And when you finish reading it, if you have any questions, be sure and come and see me. And remember, menstruation is as normal
ain't
and
white,
natural
it ain't
as
right.
eating or breathing or sleeping. Soon, Molly will be a young woman like her Jeannie, having dates, going to dances in lovely romantic dresses, and making
Being felt
new
up
and
by
important
strangers in a
friends.
park.
There are
will
so
fill her
many
up
wonderful things
in
to
a
look
park.
forward to.
Like being felt up in a park.
Growing up, it's an exciting time.
Filled with depression and bad relationships.
Starts with bleeding, ends with death. Thank you for joining us. This has been PSA with Tanner and Grady.
And